All right, guys, AM 1230 WJOB and 104.7 FM. Streaming live on the TuneIn app, and we are also going to be live on ECTV at some point. So hello, everybody in East Chicago. And you'll be able to catch this in a lot of different areas, and you're not going to want to miss it. Right now, though, for those driving around, we are not live on Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Roku. We will get some cuts of that, and we'll cut up a couple highlights, because you're going to really want to know what's happening here today. Some big changes in East Chicago, and some of these people you've never even heard of or met, but they're in some extremely big leadership positions, and they're really young. First of all, let's talk to a guy who's not that young, and that is Steve Segura. He is the multimedia director for the city of East Chicago. Segura, how you been?
How you doing? Thank you for having us.
It's been a while, me and you, huh?
It has been.
All right, who looks gruffier from the last time? You or me? I don't know. There's a little scruff going on.
You've been in the sun too much.
I have been in the sun. Honey, are you wearing your sunscreen? Yeah, sure. Click.
Yeah.
It never gets on. But hey, listen, you've been with the city for a while now, and you got a lot of good stuff going on. Before we get to these guys, what kind of announcements we want to talk about?
East Chicago, just prepare yourself. Next weekend, we have Fusic Fest, August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It is going to be probably one of the best Fusic Fests we've ever had. We're anticipating some really big crowds. On Friday, we have an old school night with CeCe Peniston, George Lamond, Rob Bass, Sweet Sensation, Coral, and Tim Spin and Schomer will be hosting. On Saturday, August 3rd, we have Drew Hill and Juvenile. And on Sunday, we have Ramona Ayala. So our phones have been ringing off the hook. VIP is available. You can go to our Facebook page and call the number. It's very limited. It's a small section, so make sure you get your tickets. We also have
how much are tickets?
It's $100 for a table of 4, so it's really $25 for a VIP. That ain't nothing.
For the VIP, what about just to get in?
It's free. Entirely free.
As Spicoli said in Fast Times in Ridgemont High, it don't cost nothing.
It don't cost nothing.
All right, so the tell people exactly where it is and how you would drive in to get there.
Okay, if you're coming off of Klein Avenue, you would go right behind Ameristar Casino, and it's in Joros Park Beach. If you want directions, you can go to jorosparkbeach.com and get directions from there. It's basically right on the lakefront. Okay,
so you are going down Klein Avenue, and you see the big Ameristar. It's right to the south of that. And describe to people what is in that beach, because quite frankly, a lot of people don't know how cool it is right now.
It is. We built a brand new stage, so this will be the debut of the new stage. It's the beach is always being cleaned by our Natalie Adams and the crew over there, but we've had so many people at the beach that it's been a challenge to keep it clean.
And there's plenty of parking. But it's not unlimited parking, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
so when it gets really crowded on a Saturday or so forth, there's still parking. Might have to drive around a little bit.
We've had over 500 people a day there recently.
Yeah, so and I've heard that too, and I've seen it and looking out there. I haven't been out there. But every time I go, I am quite impressed, as many people that aren't regular attenders there. So this thing starts at what time in the day?
It starts at 5 p.m. and finishes at 11.
Okay, so that is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, same hours every time.
Correct. And speaking of the lakefront, I'm going to jump over to this car show. This weekend, we're having Mopars on the beach. It is the second time we've had this car show. It's basically Dodge, Chrysler, if you got a Challenger, a Charger, a Jeep, or a Ram truck. We have a $500 prize, courtesy of Mayor Anthony Copeland.
And what time is that?
This all starts with a cruise at 4 p.m. coming down Columbus Drive, and then it ends up at the lakefront, and that starts at about 4:30.
So it comes down Columbus, and then goes where?
To the roundabout.
To the roundabout?
Up onto Klein, and back to the lakefront.
All right, so it has to go up one exit, basically.
Yep, just up one exit.
So it goes through the roundabout, which, hello, East Chicago, I love you guys, but I do not like that roundabout. My anxiety level goes up every time I go through there, but that's another story altogether. So many of you will be watching this after this has occurred, but we are live on the radio, so we will talk about this. But it is Saturday, July 27th. Correct. And if somebody just wants to come out and watch the cars, give them an idea where the best place is.
We're going to be at the back lot of the lakefront parking lot. It's free. Any proceeds that we do get from the raffles all go to the Carmelite home. So we just do this because we love our cars, you know.
There it is. So they can go to the Lakefront Park and watch them, but there'll also be a procession to get there down Columbus Drive.
Correct.
So anywhere around Columbus Drive near Klein Avenue, you know, you can go over by the track there. What is that, Block Junior? Or is that the junior high? Or,
yeah, and if you could stand along Columbus Drive, you'll be able to see all the cars. The cruise starts at 4 p.m.
Okay.
And then everything starts at 5 over at the lakefront.
All right, you got anything else?
Yes, one more. Let's just talk about our Kosciuszko Park is going to have the Kielbasa Fest once again. This time we're going to have Polish food by the Cavalier Inn and Polish Deli. We have the Boys from Illinois and the Take 5 Band. That's on Saturday, August 24th. And everything begins at 1 p.m. at the park. So it's been a growing festival. I know we're not pierogi level yet, but
it is growing. I went to
growing.
the first one, and it was small, and then the second one, what is this, like maybe the fourth or fifth or something like that, and it is growing. And I'm so glad that you called it Kosciuszko Park. I know some of these guys are going to want to call it Kosciuszko Park, but they don't have any clue about the heritage, and it's been known as Kosciuszko Park. Like I said, Segura's been around a while, so he's got it right, but the newer ones don't call it that.
Well,
But
I had to get it right because when they did that number on the statue, I had to do my homework on the whole thing.
well, thank you so much. And that'll be August 24th. Anybody with Polish heritage or St. Stanislaus heritage, mark that. That's a lot of fun. And Kosciuszko Park has a lot of room. And, of course, they got the big statue. And we all know the history of that. All right, we got to move you through. All right, you got to do it quickly.
National Night Out Against Crime, and that is August 6th, and that will be at Washington Park Pool from 5 to 7, and this is given by the East Chicago Police Department, and with that, I will turn it over to them.
Thank you, Segura. Your name, sir? We're going to go around, and they're going to adjust your audio, so just give your name. And your name, sir?
Hector Rosario.
Eddie Bastardo. Jose Rivera. Justin Orange.
Okay, let's go down in rank.
Chief.
You?
Commander. Deputy Chief. Commander of Patrol.
2 commanders, 1 deputy chief, and 1 chief. You guys are hearing this correctly. Those that are outside of East Chicago that are listening or watching, there's a new police chief in East Chicago, and he's been here for about 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, and that is Chief Rosario. Chief, let's go at it. How's it been your first 3 weeks?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
How long you been in the East Chicago Police Department?
I started working there in 1998 when I was 18 years old as a police cadet.
As a cadet?
Yes.
Who was chief then?
Frank Acala.
And who brought you in?
Basically, I heard about the cadet program, and I put my application in. I came in then, and the rest is history after that.
So you had already graduated?
Yes.
All right, so you're a Hammond guy.
Hammond High.
Hammond High, Central Hammond, East Hammond guy. And you go to the cadet program in 1998. And is there any schooling? You go to college? What?
The part of the program was that they paid our college at that time. As long as we maintained a C average, they paid our college, and we got paid minimum wage to be a participant of the cadet program.
And what college you go to?
UN.
And what did you study there?
Criminal justice.
All right, and how old are you now?
39.
Is he the youngest police chief in the history of East Chicago?
I think
Is that
so.
right?
That's what they've been saying.
All I can remember is like old dudes. And that's, I don't mean to put it that way. So 39 years old and the police chief in East Chicago. That's pretty good. How's it feel?
Feels good. It feels real good. To start from the bottom and work my way all the way up to the top, it's very, very, it still hasn't set in yet, honestly. It hasn't set in all the way.
Did I meet you recently?
Maybe.
Were you on a bike ride or something? No, anyways, all right. I don't know where I've seen you recently, but now that I think about it, it might have just been in the paper, seeing his picture there. But so how many officers in East Chicago are around?
Currently, right now, we are at
81.
81.
81 officers. And you're 39 years old, and you've been, Anthony Copeland appointed you?
Yes.
So what is it about you, and I know you're generally a humble guy, but you got to tell EC why you're the man for this job.
I was the deputy chief prior to this, and so I guess he saw a lot of the initiative that I have. I brought a lot of fresh ideas to the table. A lot of the technology that we brought in, I had a lot to do with it as far as the shot spotter stuff, the license plate readers and all that. So he just wants to keep moving forward.
It's a shot spotter.
Shot spotter basically detects gunfire within the city within a 25-meter radius. So if someone was to go outside their house, shoot a gun, we'd get an alert on our computers. Dispatch would get an alert as well, and we could kind of pinpoint where that gunfire is coming from.
License plate reader, what is it?
Basically, it's cameras mounted on top of a vehicle. As cars are passing that squad car, all it's doing is running license plates, so we could tell whose license plates are stolen, if the driver is suspended, if someone is wanted for murder, whatever in that vehicle, it'll let us know.
U.S. Attorney Tom Kirsch was in here recently. He talked about using data, especially data that might come out of Illinois for some of the bad guys coming over here. What are you doing with data?
We have, he's basically an intelligence guy for us right now. He's running all our data through our Spillman program, trying to pinpoint where all the crimes are happening so we could generate a heat map, so to say, and target those areas.
Chief, I've been around a long time. East Chicago police chief is a very important position in that city, but it's also can be kind of there's political swirls that go in and around. One of those political swirls, there's a lot of guys who've been there for a long time. You're introducing technology, and this is technology.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of guys been walking the beat for a long time that might resist some of the technology. How are you dealing with that?
Some of the old guys are a little hesitant to use it, but once they see the benefits of it, they're starting to jump on board slowly but surely. So hopefully the younger guys could kind of egg them on and say, hey, look, this is the way of the future, basically. There's no stopping it, trying to get them on board with this.
Deputy Chief Jose Rivera, how old are you?
43.
And how long you been on the EC?
21 years.
How'd you start?
I started as a dispatcher in 1997.
All right, and you come out of EC or no?
Yeah, born and raised in EC.
And so that would have put you out of EC Central?
Central High, 94.
94. Any schooling after high school?
Yeah, I got my bachelor's from Cal College and a master's from Cal College.
And that is both in law enforcement?
Public safety administration.
Public safety, PSA. So give us an idea. You came up through dispatch, then what?
I left dispatch after a year. I joined the department in 98 on patrol. I stayed on patrol for about 7 years, and then I joined the Gang and Narcotic Division, where I stayed there for 10 years.
Tell us about the Gang and Narcotic Division.
When I was in the Gang and Narcotic Division, we actually worked with the feds on the RICO case against Imperial gangsters, and that's when we indicted a couple dozen Imperial gangsters out the South Side.
I was there that day.
Yeah.
That was it. I think that was the biggest bust that has had the most impact on CRETA. From the outside as a media guy, that bust has had more impact on crime at the street level than any bust I've ever seen. That was Dave Cap, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it really has. It dropped our homicide rate. We were averaging at 1.20 homicides a year. After the RICO case, we dropped down to under 5. So it showed the impact of how dangerous those guys really were and all the crime that they were committing in our city.
Your name, sir?
Justin Orange.
How long you been there?
December to be 15 years.
And you joined in, 04?
05.
05. Okay, so tell us about yourself. How long, you EC guy?
East Chicago guy, born and raised.
What year at EC Central?
Not a East Chicago Central grad. Proud Bishop Noel graduate.
I knew that.
Class of 98.
I mean, is that, first of all, you got to quit moving around because I can hear that of your microphone, so slow down a second. But, I mean, I don't know how this works on the police department, but in some areas of East Chicago, if you do not go to Central and you switch over to Bishop Noel, you're seen as a bit of a traitor. Have you ever gotten that?
No.
Okay,
not
good.
at all.
All right, good. I was trying to stir the pot there a little bit. All right, as I know that Orange is a BNI guy, and we're huge BNI fans, as my wife was on the board there and is also a BNI grad, and grew up in East Chicago. What part of EC did you grow up in?
On the harbor side.
On the harbor side, where?
Around the Sunnyside area.
Around Sunnyside area. And you have been there for 15 years. You
Correct.
started as a what?
Started as a patrolman.
patrolman, and give us an idea of your progression to be a commander.
I was in the patrol division for about 9 years. I got appointed to our detective bureau under Chief Becker in 2014. I stayed in the detective bureau for about 3.5 years. At the time, Chief Frank Smith needed someone to fill a position as an acting sergeant in our patrol division. I took that position. I was in that position about a little less than a year at the time under Acting Lieutenant Bastardo. And in July of this year, Mayor Copeland took a leap of faith and wanted to go towards the youth, and he appointed Hector Rosario as our chief, and he appointed myself and these two fine young gentlemen here as his administration.
And I typically don't take a text, but in the middle of all this, my friend Verley Suggs is always giving me, there it is, I knew that. And your mother is?
Gilda Orange.
And who is she?
She is our East Chicago 6th District Councilwoman.
And how long has your mom and your family been in EC?
I've been living 39 years.
I know,
We've
but
been
your
here
mom's
all
been
that
there
time.
before that, right?
Yes.
And so she's been there a long time.
Yes.
East Chicago, you have a brand new energy here with this is it, man. This is your leadership right here. And not one of them is my generation, okay? These guys are younger guys. And I want to know from you, Bastardo, what that means coming in with all these young guys. What do you think?
It's good for us because we grew up with these guys. We followed them through the ranks. Like myself, I got hired on when they were on patrol, except for deputy chief.
What year was that?
I got hired on in 07.
Okay.
And just coming up through the ranks with these guys, seeing the difference from 10 years ago when we first got on to how it is now. I think it's a lot easier with these guys trying to bridge that gap between the young officers we're hiring now and some of the veterans that have been around for a while.
I got to talk about that. I know some of these veterans, okay? And, you guys are, an upstart, youth, technology-based kind of thing. And then you got a lot of guys that have been there a long time. And this can go a couple of different directions. They're excited about it. They want to learn the technology. They want, new energy and new application of crime-fighting techniques. And then you're going to have some that are going to resist that. I kind of hit it with the chief. To me, I just would love to be a fly on the wall in some of these meetings right now. But is the youth movement being accepted in your mind?
It is. A lot of the veteran guys rely on some of these younger officers to help them with a lot of the technology that we have in the department. There's some guys that, like the chief said, that just completely resist it. Maybe it's because of lack of knowledge with the computer systems and everything, but once we start showing them how easier it is using this technology, they come on board pretty quick with it.
That's Commander Bastardo. And once again, if you guys are listening on the radio, it's the East Chicago Show, paid for by the city of East Chicago. We've got Chief Rosario, Commander Bastardo, Deputy Chief Rivera, and Commander Orange. And to many of you longtime East Chicago watchers, you may have grown up there. You may have grown up in Hammond or Gary and kind of know East Chicago. You may not even know any of those names except for perhaps Commander Orange with his mom being Gilda Orange. But that's the news story of the day is that there's a new chief in town in East Chicago, and Mayor Anthony Copeland stepped out in putting some of the youth together. So, Chief, back to you. What do you want to see this police department in 2 to 5 years?
I want to get back in the community like we used to be. The community walks, the bike patrol, going out there talking to the kids, just getting involved with the community, bridging that gap again, regaining their trust, within the department.
Now, how do you do that?
Again, the community walks, I think those are big. Chief Becker, I know, used to do them, and the citizens loved it. They would come out, they would greet us, they'd talk to us, they'd tell us their complaints, what was bothering them, and, we would address them at that time and then move forward.
Toughest part of the city that you want to attack, right, or you want to give some attention to?
Definitely the East Chicago side probably right now. We've been having little spits of, I guess you would say, trouble over there, but nothing to worry about. It's all maintained right now, but that's where I kind of focus our guys.
All right, so you guys are all under 50, right? Is that right? I mean, everybody's
Correct,
under
yes.
50? Yeah. So how does that help you in dealing with some of the youth of East Chicago? One of you guys take it other than the chief. Who wants to take that one?
I think myself, Orange, and even Deputy Chief, our first part while we were on patrol, we did a lot of work as security for the schools. And I think a lot of the youth was used to seeing us at Central High School, at the middle schools. So they've known us as we watched them grow up through the years in school. So now we're seeing these same kids, 19, 20 years old, and they're walking up to us, hey, Bastardo, what's going on? Hey, Rivera, I mean, we've known them forever, so there's a good rapport that we have with these kids since we've been in the schools with them.
Commander Orange, you've been around the high schools and the youth also.
Absolutely.
You know, I just wonder how important, or if it can even be done, to build that community bridge with these youth in East Chicago. I mean, that's not the first thing you think of, is the youth of East Chicago with a close relationship with the East Chicago Police Department. I'll just be straight on that. Orange, can it be done?
Absolutely. As Steve just pointed out right now, in collaboration with the East Chicago City Parks Department and our East Chicago FOP, where we came up with Elevate Our Community, a co-ed basketball league, which we're trying to get kids from ages, in the first grade all the way to 8th grade. And it's more of a cops basketball program. So our police officers are going to become coaches, and they'll go in and they'll coach different age groups of kids, and we'll try to bridge that gap through something most of the kids through East Chicago like, or most kids around the world like, and that's basketball.
Where are you going to play these?
We'll play them at the newly renovated Heritage Hall, and the East Chicago, the Harbor side has the Penn Center.
What's the Penn Center? Is that
I'm not sure
so there's nothing at like
the Unity. I apologize. The
Unity.
Center,
Okay. All right.
yes.
The Unity Center. Okay. So you play it, and Heritage Hall has been newly renovated.
Yes, sir.
And really, what's that look like inside? I have not been there since
Everything
it's been.
is state of the art. They have an indoor walking track for our older citizens who like to walk in the morning and want to have a safe place to do that. And they also have, they split a basketball court in half, so you can have either two full courts going long ways or one main full court.
He's Commander Orange. We have Deputy Chief Rivera, Commander Bastardo, and Chief Rosario. We didn't get to everything. You don't do that in a little bit. But there's your introduction of a new day in East Chicago on the law enforcement side. And I know many of you are driving around going, never heard of these guys. Well, you're going to hear of them because they're running the show there on the law enforcement side. I want to thank you guys for coming in. I want to wish you the best of luck. Not an easy job. We didn't even get to the nuts and bolts of the job right now, but really we just wanted to give everybody an introduction to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And City of East Chicago show. They asked me to host. I love it. I love going into East Chicago. I love making fun of East Chicago guys. So they'll give me a chance to do that from time to time. But you guys in East Chicago, be well, be safe, and thank you for listening and watching to the voice and face of the region.
Need